The urgent search for a killer right here in New York. After a jogger's body was found along a path she often ran. ABC's Lindsay Davis is in Queens with the latest. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, George. Katrina Vetrano was said to go running along this path with her dad just about every day. But on this one occasion, her dad didn't go. And now this close-knit community is not only grieving but fearful, questioning if this was targeted or random. This morning, New York police are on the hunt for a killer.
Right now, there's evidence of strangulation, asphyxiation.
Overnight, a vigil for 30-year-old Katrina Vetrano, who went out for a jog around 5 o'clock Tuesday and never came home. Concerned, her father called police and went out looking for her on a path they often ran together.
You can imagine his angst at that point. We found her face down in the ground. We immediately called EMS.
Vetrano was found face down just a few blocks away from her New York home. You can see her here in a short film she wrote and starred in called The Paradox. She frequently wrote about death, even posting this in a blog in 2013. Sometimes when I'm feeling really sad and lonely and misunderstood, I wonder if right now at this age and this time of my life, if by some freak accident I died, what would happen? And then this happened in broad daylight. Her father, a retired firefighter, was having back pain and couldn't make the run on this particular evening and says he asked her not to go alone.
She was a sweetheart. She lit up the room when she walked in. She was a beautiful girl.
Police say they have a lot of digital evidence, including cameras in the neighborhood where her body was found.
She has a very high social media profile, so this is something that the detectives now are going to have to cull through every one of these things to see if there's been any threats, if there's been anything said really inappropriate.
According to the autopsy, she was strangled to death. There's also evidence that she was sexually assaulted. Police have yet to make any arrests. George.
So horrible. Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much. Let's talk now to our consultant, former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett. So we just heard in the piece right there, surveillance cameras, her social media profile. That's where the police begin?
That's where they begin, George, but the real key is going to be who frequents this area. Maybe the local patrol folks will give them some insight into that, but for whatever reason, George, trails and females, there is a certain attraction by a particular type of predator to go to those locations. So has he been watching her in the past? Did he happen to come upon her this particular day? I don't know, but my guess is he's going to have some connection to the park, and between the surveillance cameras and checking out who patrol may know who hangs out in that area could be a potential lead. Some connection to the park, but not necessarily to her. Yes. I will tell you, George, in working attacks of females in parks, they tend to be random. Now, that doesn't mean that the bad guy didn't see her at some other point, but one area that I would check that I've used in the past is you're going to pull up every registered sex offender in and around the proximity of that park, and maybe even a circle bigger than that. You're going to look for MO, and you're also going to look for other assaults in parks, whether it be Central Park or some other location, because people who like to do this, George, are going to go from park to park. Right, but as we saw in this Chandra Levy case in Washington, D.C., sometimes these can be so hard to solve. Exactly, which is, again, a wide open case. So all I'm suggesting is the things I just mentioned, you've got to jump on immediately, and I think they've got some real possibility. Okay, Brad Garrett, thanks very much.